Good morning. On this beautiful New England spring morning in place and cyberspace. Come into this place of peace, and may it bring you ease of being. Come into this place of care, and may it fill you with loving presence, surround you with loving presence. Come into this place of justice, and let its strength and truth give you courage and grounding for our days. It's good to be together. Let's sing hymn number 1000 in the blue hymnal, the first page. Morning has come. Please rise as you are able, and please do keep your masks on while singing.
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish in Milton. My name is Penny Partridge, and I am a member of our worship committee. We are so glad that you have chosen to be here with us this morning, here in the meeting house, or coming to us virtually through Zoom. However your journey, whatever your heritage, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you are joining us for the first time, a special welcome. You will find information about First Parish in your pew. One of the greeters or I would be happy to answer any questions you might have, and we would welcome the opportunity to walk with you to our social hour that will be held outside today, right out those windows. The work of living our faith is done both in and out of worship. So I call your attention to the announcements that come to you in the link on Thursdays, and in particular, want to call your attention to three things today. The Racial Justice Focus Group will meet this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Zoom we're taking a deeper dive together in understanding white supremacist culture. Wherever you are on your journey with regard to that, you are welcome. As I said, there will be a live social hour outside this morning, and here we are with the choir today, right here in our choir loft. So as we start coming back together one step at a time, or 2 or 3 steps at a time sometimes, we're needing people to sign up for helping with hospitality on Sundays and helping with being a greeter, which is now combined with being an usher. If you have any doubts about how to do that, there's a sign-up mechanism online, but you can call the office and they can help you with that if there's any question. Now let's take a few minutes to greet each other and extend a warm welcome to old friends and new. Of course, we need to be COVID safe, so please stay in your seats. And you may stand, though, and greet your friends as enthusiastically as you like, but stay in your pew.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, everyone.
And for those
Hey,
of you
Richard.
on Zoom, please show your face and go to the gallery.
Hi, Tracy.
Hello.
Hi,
everyone.
Cynthia.
Tracy, hey, Lynn.
Hello.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Lynn.
Hey, Chris Pitt. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, guys.
We'll have a social chat if you want to join afterwards, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, see you guys.
Hi,
Hey,
Chris.
Chris.
As we enter into worship together, please take a moment to make sure that your cell phones are off or silenced. And please, now is the moment when we can focus on being here, when we can let go of our worries, our thoughts, our lists, when we can choose to connect with ourselves, when we can choose to connect with the divine, when we can choose to just be present. Each Sunday, we light the chalice as a reminder that even in an increasingly unpredictable and dangerous world, the flame continues to shine. A corner of warmth and awareness where we, the members of this faith community, can find comfort, support, and connection to one another. Now, please join me in saying the call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
Okay. While I'm reading this story to you, think about what you might choose if you were in charge of celebrations? This is a book by Bird Baylor. Okay. Sometimes people ask me, aren't you lonely out there with just the desert around you? I guess they mean the bare grass, the yuccas, the cactus, and the rocks. I guess they mean the deep ravines and the hawk nests and the cliffs and the coyote trails that wind across the hills. Lonely? I can't help laughing when they ask me that. I always look at them surprised. And I say, how could I be lonely? I'm the one in charge of celebrations. Sometimes they don't believe me, but it's true. I am. I put myself in charge. I choose my own. Last year, I gave myself 108 celebrations, besides the ones that they closed school for. I cannot get by with only a few. Friend, I'll tell you how it works. I keep a notebook, and I write down the date, and then I write about the celebration. I'm very choosy over what goes in that book. It has to be something I plan to remember the rest of my life. You can tell what's worth a celebration because your heart will pound, and you'll feel like you're standing on top of a mountain, and you'll catch your breath like you were breathing some kind of new air. Otherwise, it just counts as an average day. I told you I was choosy. Friend, I wish you'd been there for Dust Devil Day. But since you weren't, I'll tell you how it got to be my first real celebration. You can call them whirlwinds if you want to. Me, I think Dust Devils is a better sound. Well, anyway, I always stop to watch them. Here everyone does. You know how they come from far away, moving up from the flats, swirling and swaying and falling and turning, picking up sticks and sand and feathers and dry tumbleweeds. Well, last March 11th, we were all going somewhere. I was in the back of a pickup truck. When the Dust Devils started to gather, you could see they were giants. You'd swear they were calling their friends to come too. And they came, dancing in time to their own windy music. We all started counting, we all started looking for more. They stopped that truck and we turned around and around watching them all. There were 7. At a time like that, something kind of goes crazy in you. You have to run to meet them, yelling all the way. You have to whirl around like you were one of them, and you can't stop until you're falling down. And then all day you think how lucky you were to be there. Some of my best celebrations are sudden surprises like that. If you weren't outside at that exact moment, you'd miss them. I spend a lot of time outside myself, looking around. Once I saw a triple rainbow that ended in a canyon where I'd been the day before. It was halfway up a hill, standing in a drizzle of rain. It was almost dark, but I couldn't go in because the rainbows, of course. And there at the top of the hill, a jackrabbit was standing up on his hind legs, perfectly still, looking straight at the same triple rainbow. I may be the only person in the world who's seen a rabbit standing in the midst, quietly watching 3 rainbows. That's worth a celebration anytime. I wrote it down and drew the hill and the rabbit and the rainbow and me. And now, August 9th is Rainbow Celebration Day. And I was lucky on Coyote Day because out of all the time it had to be one moment only that a certain coyote and I could meet, and we did. Friend, you should have been there too. I was following deer tracks, taking my time, bending down as I walked, kind of humming. I hum a lot when I'm alone. I looked up in time to see a young coyote trotting through the brush. She crossed in front of me. It was a windy day, and she was going east. In that easy, silent way coyotes move, she pushed into the wind. I stood there hardly breathing, wishing I could move that way. I was surprised to see her stop and turn and look at me. She seemed to think I was just another creature following another rocky trail. That's true, of course, I am. She didn't hurry, she wasn't afraid. I saw her eyes and she saw mine. That look held us together. Another one of my greatest of all celebrations is called the Time of Falling Stars. It lasts almost a week in the middle of August, and I wait all year for those hot summer nights when the sky goes wild. You can call them meteor showers if you want to. Me, I like to say they're falling stars. And all that week, I sleep outside. I give my full attention to the sky, and every time a streak of light goes shooting through the darkness, I feel my heart shoot out of me. One night I saw a fireball that left a long red blazing tail across the sky. After it was gone, I stood there looking up, not quite believing what I'd seen. The strange thing was, I met a man who told me he'd seen the same thing too while he was lying by a campfire 500 miles away. He said he did not sleep again that night. Suddenly it seemed that we two spoke a language no one else could understand. Every August of my life, I think of that. Friend, I've saved my New Year's celebration until last. Mine is a little different from the one most people have. It comes in spring. To tell the truth, it never did feel like my New Year started January 1st. To me, that's just another winter day. I let my year begin when winter ends and morning light comes earlier, the way it should. That's when I feel like starting new. I wait until white-winged doves are back from Mexico and wildflowers cover the hills and my favorite cactus blooms. It always makes me think I ought to bloom myself. And then that's when I start to plan my New Year celebration. I finally choose a day that is exactly right. Even the air has to be perfect, and the dirt has to feel good and warm on bare feet. Usually it's a Saturday, around the end of April. I have a drum that I beat to signal the day. Then I go wandering off, following all my favorite trails to all of the places I like. I check how everything is doing. I spend the day admiring things. If the old tortoise I know from last year is out strolling around, I'll go his direction a while. I celebrate with horned toads and ravens and lizards and quail. And friend, it is not a bad party. Walking back home, kind of humming. Sometimes I think about those people who ask me if I am lonely here. I have to laugh out loud. My fingers. So, as we join now to sing the children out, children are going to be considering what celebrations they might choose for themselves. And I think you get a chance to do something similar.
Now is the time in our service where we settle in on stillness with one another. And in cyberspace, if you can settle in and let yourself be grounded wherever you are, this is a time when we join, we share our sense of stillness and breathe it into our being. Last week we worked a little bit on emphasizing the out-breath, emphasizing the letting go into spring. Today, let's emphasize the in-breath, the coming to life, the nourishment of breath. And when you breathe out, you're releasing what is not necessary, what needs to go. And when you breathe in the nourishment of breath and hope and aspiration and love. So settle into your body. Let yourself be here now. Let yourself have this tool of resilience ever with you, your breath. And let all the sounds that you hear be a part of it. Just let them go, let them be. Breathe in the breath and the sounds. Breathe out what is not necessary. Blessings be.
The reading today is Earth Teach Me. It's a response, we're going to do it as a responsive reading. And this is a prayer of the Ute Native American people. This week, when Reverend Lisa sent me this prayer, was the first time I heard a connection between the name of the Ute people and the name of the state of Utah. And I had just never connected the two before. And as a matter of fact, there are many Utes still living in the northeastern corner of the state of Utah. We're going to do this with me reading the beginning of each sentence, which is in bold in your program, and then you completing the thought. Earth, teach me stillness. Earth, teach me suffering. Earth, teach me humility. Earth, teach me caring. Earth, teach me courage. Earth, teach me limitation. Earth, teach me freedom. Earth, teach me resignation. Earth, teach me regeneration. Earth, teach me to forget myself. Earth, teach me to remember kindness.
hello, hello, choir. Thank you, thank you. Welcome back. And thank you, Tim, for all of your musical juggling that we're still doing, of course, with COVID, but just amazing, just amazing. Spring has sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where the flowers is. I was talking with a colleague this week, and he kept saying as we were doing our check-in, this is the best of times and the worst of times. The best of times and the worst of times. Spring is coming. COVID precautions are easing. And yet war in Ukraine, devastating and refugee crises throughout the world, with an urgent focus now on the brutality of Ukraine, what's happening there. The best of times, the worst of times. A famous saying by 19th century Unitarian novelist Charles Dickens. The best of times, the worst of times. It's hard to navigate what's going on right now on a global level and within ourselves. Hard to practice making life worth living when so much suffering is going on. We have a deep desire to help make things better and not worse. We feel moments of helplessness and of too little, too late. What little we do does not feel like enough day in and day out. And yet, what we have is our being, is our choices, is our sensibilities, is our resources. That's what we have. E.B. White, known in the 19th century as a liberal free thinker, wrote this once: I arise in the morning torn between a desire to improve or save the world and a desire to enjoy or savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. Save or savor. Save or savor. How do we do this? Well, we do both, of course, to ground our days. And it starts with savoring, with practicing our body knowledge of the strength and worth of the world, savoring a world worth saving. The Ute prayer we read together weaves in both wisdoms, demonstrates a Native American worldview of earth medicine. To Native Americans, medicine is more than a means for treating illness. Medicine is the vitality and power that exists in all of nature. It is the wisdom, the guidance we can discern if we pay attention to help us come into a harmonized way of being, a humble and harmonized way of being. From the Anasazi Foundation, there's a power in nature that humanity has ignored, and the result has been heartache and pain. There is a power in nature that humanity has ignored, and the result has been heartache and pain. So how do we navigate our lives and choices within this disturbed, disruptive, chaotic, disintegrated feeling that we are having on a global level? First, in order to be at all helpful or wise or resourceful, we have to find our own footing to walk out into the world. We have to interrupt human machinations of mind and of conquering greed and power over into the body wisdom of earth, of the cosmic consciousness of harmony which is in us, as well as a blade of grass. Alice Walker, contemporary writer and activist, wrote in an essay from the book Living by the Word, "The universe responds," she says. "What you ask of it, it gives." The military-industrial complex and its leaders and scientists have shown more faith in this reality than of those of us who do not believe in war and who want peace. They've asked the earth for all its deadlier substances. They've been confident in their faith in hatred. The universe, ever responsive, the earth, ever giving, has opened itself fully to their desires. I remember when I used to dismiss the bumper sticker, "Pray for peace," Alice Walker continues. I realize now that I did not understand it, since I also did not understand prayer, which I now know to be the active affirmation in the physical world of our inseparableness from the divine, and everything, especially the physical world, is divine. So I want to ask you all today, since it's wonderful to hear all of our voices, hearken you back to the responsive reading. And I invite you to find your own image, tap into your own body knowledge, into Earth's guidance, and how it grounds you in your day-to-day living, how it might give you wisdom to save and savor the world. First, with the Savior, how some interaction that you see in nature with one another, some image that you've seen in the last week or two that grounds you in savoring this world that we want to live in peace and justice and equanimity for all peoples. I'm not going to read through the whole reading that you have before you, but just lift up the sensibilities that are lifted up here. You may have another one, but just to get you thinking a little: stillness, suffering, humility, caring, courage, limitation, freedom, resignation, regeneration, forgetting ourselves, kindness. And when you're thinking, it does not have to be the same metaphor that was given in the Ute prayer that just guides us into the seeing, guides us into that level of attention that we often miss. As many of you know, I live right next to the Boston Nature Center in Mattapan. And I had an encounter the other morning while walking with my cat. I looked up just at a moment when a coyote passed through the woods. About 30 yards away, just absolutely silent, almost ghost-like. I'm talking a second and a half, just maybe 2 seconds. The mystery of it startled me. There are layers of attention, I thought, and we need to share space. Enough for distance, I thought. I also felt a little fear, as did my cat, who was now rubbing right up against me. We headed back home, taking care to keep that distance. There's mystery, the medicine was saying, and more to see when we pay attention. Earth, teach me humility and caring. I wrote a haiku when I returned, which I'm not asking you to write, by the way, just Coyote passes, swift silence as stealth in woods, a glimpse, a day's gift. So I want to ask you, and I got to have my mask. I have it. To think now of any images. I'm going to read these again, and then I'm going to take a mic and pass it around. We've got to stay masked, but would love to hear the wisdom from your experiences. It doesn't have to be, it just something that caught your eye, something that said, savor this, something that said, ooh, what a lovely surprise, something that said, I've got to remember to behave this way, some sensibility, suffering, humility, caring, courage, limitation, freedom, resignation, regeneration, forgetting ourselves, kindness, any other sensibility that comes up that's helping you these days with these times. And choir folk, there's a mic right there that you can walk up to. Bryn is going to turn it on. Thank you, Bryn, for being our audio engineer this morning. If you want to say anything. So if anybody has a thought, I'm going to turn this on, right? Yep. Just an image, anything to share with the group.
Hearing
Little closer.
hearing the songbirds. Well, I'm inside my house even though the windows are closed. First time I've heard them this spring. Humility.
Hearing the peepers in the blue hills reminding me that spring has returned again.
Seeing green,
That's okay.
seeing green buds just popping up on perennials along the fence.
I saw the crocuses this morning, and it was that sense of rebirth, and oh my God, I didn't get the leaves off the flower beds in time.
No, that's okay, let me. Gives people time to think.
A baby's cry.
I spent Thursday and Friday turning and regenerating and amplifying my compost pile.
A peregrine falcon with her babies on our windowsill.
Well, yesterday, riding in the car with my wife and daughter and her friend, they were screaming, we're singing along to Miley Cyrus's Like a Wrecking Ball. And it was just, I was like, oh, I remember this moment. But, so.
I'm studying Korean. It's very difficult, but my favorite word in Korean is 감사합니다. And I learned this morning that the actual literal translation is I appreciate.
What's the word again?
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Sun shining this morning. I dared to do some yoga poses and felt connected to the warmth and the light and the hope of the day.
Thank you. These small images that what may seem small are not. They are telling us of life's wonder, life's interdependence, life's resilience. We are participating in life's resilience with our wonder, with our getting our hands in the dirt and compost, with our letting the sun touch us, with the hearing of birdsong and peepers and babies crying and children singing. This is all important strengthening work for whatever we want to do with our days. Savor the world, if you at all want to save it. We've been blessed with the ability to be aware of our existence, to interact and respond to this miracle of life. But the only way we will survive is through the power of connectedness, companioning of all being. And we have to practice it. It's the same gift of awareness of our being that can help us out of any denial or destructive behavior. The more we feel connected, the more we will see the fissures and the destructions and the ways that it is stopped, the ways that things come upon us that have us separate and into us and them, and then into aggression. We got off track thousands of years ago when we assumed, because of our consciousness, that we were special, advanced, especially loved by God or creation, we humans. It happened when we assumed through our ability to think, scheme, understand, and communicate plans that we were in charge, that we had dominion over the earth and its creatures. It happened when we assumed through our ability to make tools, manipulate earth, and build great machines that the world was ours to take and use as we will. We were wrong. This is wrongful thinking that has to stop. We're not the most important life in this universe. We are blessed with life in this universe. We're not the most important being in this universe. We are blessed with life in this universe. How then do we have the hubris to destroy it? The earth adapts and continues its life regardless of our survival. We as a species need to decide whether we want to be alive and take measures to help us stay alive. If we want to survive, then we have to take care of our earth home. If we believe in humanity, then we have to stop threatening its existence, and we have to stop violating one another. It's hard to pause to savor the world when the urgent cry for saving resounds in Ukraine and other terrible pockets of violence in the world, other places where refugees are suffering and racism abounds, and within too many hearts. Yet it is one of our vital sources, our vital resources to savor this, to ground ourselves in remembrance, to ground ourselves in our participation in the worth of the world. It's a vital resource to bolster each other up with reminders of love, strength, hope, and faith. So may it be. Amen. Let's sing hymn number 163 together, For the Earth Forever Turning. Please rise as you are able and keep your masks on for singing. Thank you. Let us join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. This morning, I will be offering two prayers. One, we will begin locally, and then there is a prayer that Rabbi Benjamin of the Congregation Beth Shalom in Milton sent around to Milton Interfaith Clergy Association at this time of the Ukraine war. I will end our prayer with a prayer that is being circulated in many houses of worship right now. So let us settle in, open our hearts to prayer. O divine source of many naming, we see you and feel you in many ways, the connection to all of life and the harmony of all that which holds all. Come to our knowing, come to our awareness. Help us feel the hope and assurance of strength of life in all of this. We lift up some local prayers. Dottie and Chris Pitt joyfully welcome granddaughter Lucy Helen Fortin, born to Martha and Chris Fortin. Jeff sends out prayers and a little bit of sorrow, missing Chris Pitt in the bass section. May his healing be strong. Diana is so glad that choir's back, and congratulations to her niece Kyra, birthed Aurora, 10 pounds, 11 ounces. And good luck to Andy Pinkham, closing his recording studio and on to new ventures. And for all the prayers of self and in community, held up in silence, unspoken, may we surround them with love. And let us expand out our hearts into a more universal prayer, knowing that these words are being shared in many houses of worship. Each of them were invited to be adapted to the moment. God of compassion, put an end to the war in Ukraine and all wars throughout the world. Look with favor on the refugees, the homeless, the wounded, the suffering, the starving, and the newly bereaved. Grant a perfect rest under your canopy of peace to those who have perished at the ugly hand of war. Extend your canopy of peace from the highest heavens to this earth. Bless the people and leaders of Ukraine with continued strength and resolve to defend against the onslaught, inspiring world sympathy and support. Bless the peoples and leaders of nations with wisdom and skill to face the challenge of history as Europe prepares for a broader conflict and fears world war. Bless the aggressors and warmongers with a change of mind, a change of heart and soul to release the tools of war, to pick up the tools of peace. God of peace, release the citizens of Ukraine from occupation and war. Grant them resilience and vitality. Give them comfort and hope. End this violence and suffering for life renewed, for healing and building, for a better world. Let justice come in waves like water and righteousness flow like a river, so that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. to all that is holy. We pray. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Marina Beida, and I am Ukrainian. I am working as volunteer for Sunflower of Peace organization since 2014. And thank you for letting me talk about Sunflower of Peace today here. And I introduce a little bit about this information about this organization. Sunflower of Peace was founded in 2014 by Ukrainian woman Katya Malakhova, who lives in Boston area. The organization has been providing medical supplies, supported orphanages, and disabled individuals since then. In addition, Sunflower of Peace has been supporting Ukrainian hospitals with much needed medical equipment and also for cancer treatment. Due to the war in Ukraine right now, the mission of organization has changed. Right now, we are focusing on providing medical supplies to Ukrainian hospitals and tactical backpacks to be used by paramedics on the front lines in Ukraine. Paramedics' backpacks have all necessary medical supplies to save the life of Ukrainian soldiers, civilians, children, and volunteers. With donated funds, we buy medical supplies, pack our backpack, and ship them to Poland and Romania. The backpacks and medical supplies then transferred through the Ukrainian border and distributed around Ukraine where they need the most. In the past 3 weeks, we have already sent several shipments on multiple planes, and they have successfully received and used by Ukrainian paramedics and hospitals. We have many dedicated volunteers working to make it happen. Volunteers here in Boston area, Ukraine, Poland, and Romania. Aside from medical supplies saving the life of many people, they are also the way to let Ukrainian people know that they are not alone. We are standing with them in this fight. They are in our hearts, and we are doing everything in our power to help them. This kind of support goes a long way right now and gives people a hope. We are fortunate to be surrounded by kind and generous people here who support Ukraine in many ways. We at Sunflower of Peace are grateful to each and every one of them, and we are grateful for you, for your donations today. Thank you so much for your support.
Today's offering will go to the Sunflower of Peace, Ukrainian organization charity. Sunflower of Peace is a new fundraiser that provides medical and humanitarian aid that will be used by the paramedics and doctors in the areas that are affected by the violence in Ukraine. How to give. Simply text 617-539-7576 with the amount that you'd like to give. Do not add words, simply put the amount. You'll get an automatic text message back asking you to do a one-time setup to create an account with your credit card debit number. After the one-time setup, you can simply text the number with an amount to give, and it'll be automatically debited from the account of your choosing. This is contained and safe. It goes directly to a designated First Parish account.
If it is love,
if it's love, it never goes away. I say love, if it's love, never goes away. It's embedded in us like seams of gold in the earth. We waiting for light, waiting to be struck. I said love, if it is love, never goes away. I said love never goes away if it's real love. It's embedded in us like seeds of gold in the earth. Yes, it is. And it's waiting for light, waiting to be struck.
Love, if it is love,
Love, if it's love, never goes away.
it is embedded in
Love, if it's fighting to be strong. Oh, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Please join me in our unison dedication. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity.
And let us sing together the closing hymn number 1058, Be Ours a Religion. We'll go ahead and go through it twice. First time we'll get used to it, and then the second time we will get her down. Our benediction of the month. Trusting in a foundation of faith, love, and compassion, may we open to the challenges of the unknown with the assurance of our shared humanity and the guiding wisdom of creation's wonder. As I douse the flame of our faith, may it burn deep and wide within us, in our seeking to build a healthy and just world with faith, love, and compassion. Go into your days and find your ways. Amen.